So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about a new law coming out of the Netherlands that's supposed to combat false self-employment. I thought this was a really interesting concept that was coming from the Netherlands. For one, it seems kind of strange. False self-employment, what does that mean? We're going to talk about all of this. This article is from LNE Global. They're an alliance of employers council worldwide, and specifically the writer is Lydia Milders. She's a partner at Palthe and Oberman, which is a Dutch employment law firm. Here, self-employment, refers to an independent contractor, right? So self-employment is the concept behind a 1099 self-contractor in the United States. And this new rule that they're considering adding to the civil code considers whether or not the work is performed under work-related direction by the employer, or the work or the employee is organizationally embedded in the employer's organization, and the employee does not perform the labor for his own account and risk. This appears to be aimed at eliminating the gig workers, or eliminating the concept of gig workers in the workplace, and really focusing them on whether or not they're employees or independent contractors or self-employed. All of these things are covered under the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 in the United States, which is what really got me most surprised about this new legal change in the Netherlands. I was under the impression that these things had been long sorted out there, but it sounds like it is not very clear whether or not someone is a self-employed person or works as an employee. And as a result, they're trying to close the loopholes. One of the things that is interesting about Dutch law that's a little bit different than the United States is that registered freelancers, registered 1099s, are expected to have a minimum of 3 employers or clients per year. And they're also not supposed to have more than 70% of their freelance income from one client. And exceeding this may result in the tax authorities viewing it as a traditional form of employment. And so I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, for example, gig workers kind of could get around this, for example, by driving for Uber, Lyft, and another taxi ride sharing service. And as a result, they're ultimately considered to be self-employed, but they're being split up by different employers. So I think that's really interesting that they take this approach. I'm not sure that the United States would want to consider where specific income comes from, but that's the Dutch approach to this system and what separates freelancers and 1099 workers from everyone else. The European Parliament has also been backing proposals to prevent these gig workers from forcing workers into false self-employment. The European Trade Union Confederation Secretary Ludovic Voet said, "For too long, platform companies have made huge profits by dodging their most basic obligations as employers at the expense of workers, good employers, and public services." And as a result, they've called on the European Parliament to regulate the, quote, scandal of false employment. For clarity here, we're going to compare with the United States and the IRS, and there are facts that provide evidence of the degree of control that determine independent contractor versus employee. Number one, behavioral. Does the company control or have the right to control what the worker does and how he does the job? Financial. Are the business aspects of the worker's job controlled by the payer, like how worker is paid, whether expenses are reimbursed, etc., as well as the type of relationship? Are there employee type benefits like insurance, vacation pay? Will the relationship continue, or is the work performed a key aspect of the business? And frankly, you're seeing things like the PRO Act in the United States is playing a very big role. There's a very good chance that in the near future, depending on how Congress falls, that the PRO Act will be passed, and that will take an extreme approach to independent contractors, far surpassing what the Fair Labor Standards Act and other guidance surrounding independent contractors. The Dutch have two ultimate problems with false self-employed professionals, one of which is that employers will offer you a job on the condition that you register as a self-employed professional, or a ZZP, as they call it, Zelfstandige Zonder Personeel, and they won't pay Social Security premiums or payroll taxes. And this is what happens quite frequently in the United States. The idea is that you receive a 1099 form instead of a W-4, or rather W-2. And then the other one is that the situation is that you're actually a self-employed professional. You're hired by a company, but then the client determines how you do the assignment. They have the authority, and you have committed to doing the job yourself. You can't send someone else, or you receive a salary, a fixed wage, etc. And these things are currently against the law according to the Netherlands. But they are looking at eliminating gig workers. I think that's quite interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.